Welcome to the Grant Writing Simplified podcast. This is the place to learn how to make a big impact in your community through grant writing and nonprofit consulting. The world needs you to step forward as a grant writer and use your skills to lead with confidence. I'm Teresa Huff, former special ed teacher turned grant writer and nonprofit strategist. In my 20 years of freelancing, I've helped nonprofits triple their funding and exponentially increase their reach. Now I'm stepping up to mentor freelancers and nonprofit leaders like you who are ready to take your skills to the next level. It's time to get intentional about your vision so you can create lasting change in your community. Learn the skills and strategies you need to become the grant writer the world needs. Let's do this. Hey friends, today I want to start with some of the very basics about grants, because whether you are a freelancer or you're a nonprofit leader, you may be hearing things like, just get grants. Why don't you write grants to fund that? Why don't you do some grant writing? And you may have no idea where to start. You feel like a deer in the headlights of, yeah, if there's money out there, why can't I find it? Or why can't I win these applications? Where are they? So these next couple of episodes, I want to go through some of those basic questions with you and just kind of lay the foundation on some of these fundamentals about grants. First of all, today we're going to talk about what is a grant. Let's start with the basics so that you understand what kind of grant writing I'm referring to. Grants are a process of applying for funding to be used for a specific cause. The grants I work with are generally given to nonprofits, and mostly a 501c3, which is a specific type of tax designation. For example, this might be a food pantry or a local homeless shelter, but the key is that they are a 501c3 nonprofit. Grants can also go to schools or government agencies such as a health department or library. There is a small handful of grants out there for businesses and individuals, but that's not what I'm referring to when I say grant writing. Those are few and far between. Sorry to break that news to you, even though sometimes people seem to think they can get a grant for any random idea. If that were the case, we would all be rolling in grant funds. So first, let's talk about what a grant is not. And just a side note here, I'm not talking about the emergency funding that's going around right now with COVID. I'm talking about the normal grant world. First of all, you can't use a grant to install a swimming pool in your backyard. Sorry. You can't get grant funding to pay your bills. You typically can't get grant funding to start a nonprofit. This is a common misconception. I'm generalizing here, but if someone says they got a grant to start their nonprofit, it's probably more like a sponsor or a donor who agreed to fund their startup costs rather than a formal grant application process. Now let's talk about what a grant is. A grant is a very specific type of financial assistance. It must be used for a specific purpose that is outlined in the application. There's a process you have to go to receive a grant. Each funder, each grant maker, will have an application typically on their website and specific guidelines that you need to follow in order to apply. And it will say who can apply, who cannot apply, and deadlines, geographical restrictions, anything like that they put in place. And these will vary quite a bit from one funder to another. Grants involve 3 R's: restrictions, responsibility, and reporting. Restrictions means that if you put certain things in the application that you said you would do with the money based on their guidelines, then you need to spend the money the way you said. The responsibility piece is that you will implement the program according to how you said you would in the application. Same with spending the money. If you receive the money to buy books for your after-school reading program, you can't go out and decide to buy PE equipment. You have to stay within that same umbrella of what you had applied for. And so you need to use responsible management as you're implementing the program and managing those funds. And finally, the reporting piece, you need to follow up with reports to the funder. They will probably have deadlines and a format that you need to follow for this, but it's not just free for all. They don't hand over the money and say, see you later, thanks for applying. They want to know the follow-up of that. They want to know that their money is making an impact and going to where they expect it to. This is their way of investing in the community. They're looking for their ROI. And in the business world, that's the return on investment, which is kind of the same concept. But this is more of a return on impact. As opposed to getting their money back, they want to see that if they're giving their money, it's creating a ripple effect and a bigger impact than if they were just keeping it to themselves. I hope this helps clarify a little bit about what grants are and the basics of those when I mention grant writing and getting grant funding. That kind of takes you through the expectations and just a very basic foundation. And next time, I'm going to go through some common questions I get about grant writing. I've been hearing several really good questions lately, so I want to go through those in episode 3. So hang with me, and I will see you there soon. Are you ready to learn more? I have a quiz on my website called Do You Have What It Takes to Be a Grant Writer? Hop over there and take that and see what your results say. Go to teresahuff.com/quiz. My name's spelled TeresaHuff.com/quiz. If you love this show and you learned something new about being the type of grant writer the world needs so you can create a ripple in your community, please go leave me a review over on Apple Podcasts today. Thanks for listening. Now go change your world.